Hmm. Hi, I'm Heather, and decided no better time than this moment to do a little disclaimer. Why the fuck do I wear bandaids sometimes, especially in weird places on my face? Since bringing shame and things that I feel shame about out into the light and allowing them to be seen frequently lessens the intensity of them greatly. I'm going to talk a little bit about um, one of the ways that I hurt myself. So, um, I learned a term, dermatillomania, sometime around 2016 or so, maybe 2015. And I don't know. I learned that term at some point as an adult and not that far in the past. And I went, oh, wow, that really feels like the experience I've been having since I was, as long as I can remember, since I was a child. So for me, what dermatillomania is the picking at scabs and owies on my skin, um, like in a compulsive way. It's definitely a compulsive disorder in the DSM, or whatever that fuck that book is called. It's under OCD, or it's related to OCD, very similar to trichotillomania, which is the pulling out of hair. Or others hair, yeah, other hairs, not just head hair. So sometimes I wear band-aids to protect myself from myself because these things can take a really long time to heal if I keep fucking with it. And it can get infected and it can get worse. And so sometimes that means I have to wear band-aids in inconvenient places for an extended period of time. This one started as I think it's called cystic um, uh, acne. So it became this really big lump and bump on my head, and eventually um, it was just a normal zit on top of the volcanic lump on top of my head. And that pick spot, it became a pick spot, and it was at least a month. Um, that was a big win, actually. And so when this one started a couple of days ago, again as a zit, I knew I needed to wear this a lot so that it doesn't become one that's there for a long time. The current spots that I have along my upper shoulders are very old. Had them a long time. And that's part of what really embarrasses me is when I see a photo, like there was one that I had right here for well over a year. And I'll see a photo, I think I saw it, like it was like April of 2020, and that was there, and I remembered, like, at that time it had been there a while already. And this owie on my arm only healed a couple months ago, finally. And so the way I look at it is these are kind of like wounds, heart wounds or inner wounds that haven't been healed yet, that haven't been dealt with yet. At its worst, I had them all the way up and down. I had owies all the way up and down my legs, on my arms, my back, my face, my scalp. I had well over 100 like active pick spots. I think it was around then that I went on medical leave for my first medical leave for mental health needs. Um, but yeah, it's been an aspect of my anxiety and of I don't even want to own it like that anymore, but it's been an aspect of my life since I was very, very young. My first memory, really distinct memory, was I had of picking. Is that I had like a in the part of my hair, I had a mosquito bite that it was just maddening anyway because it's so itchy. And I scratched at it until it became an owie, and then it just never healed because I kept scratching at it because not only was it itchy, but also because I had a scab. And I remember it was like bleeding, and a teacher came by because I was sitting at my desk and I probably had just been messing with it. And a teacher came by and said something. I don't remember the exact words, but the feeling was, "That's disgusting. Stop doing it. Don't ever do that again." Something along those lines. I think it became a self-soothing technique that no one could take away from me. Basically, I sucked my thumb until I was that well into my 5th year, and yeah, I was broken of that habit in really difficult ways. And so, yeah, this was a way that became a self-soothing um, adaptation that obviously is not at all healthy. I've had horrible like infections from it. I've had tons and tons of embarrassment and had to hide parts of my body for long periods of time so that nobody could see what I was doing to myself. But then also I knew that sometimes they saw me actually doing it. And and um it might have been before I went on medical leave, or maybe it was while I was on medical leave that first time. I was still married, and I remember my husband. He used to hold my hand to try to keep me from picking, and he had stopped doing that. He wasn't trying anymore. Um, and he just looked at me. He was like, "It's just so disgusting. It's just so gross. I can't stand to see you do it." And it wasn't until I finally admitted that I did it to a couple of friends, and I think I admitted to a friend who I self-identified as having trichotillomania, and I was like, "Oh, I do something similar." And yeah, and then I found a Facebook group about it, and I can't go there very much, or really hardly ever, because it's dark there. The dermatillomania group is a dark place. People are in very, very difficult spaces typically, and post photos of really, really painful things. Just, just huge. Ugh, I can't. So, it's too triggering to go there. But I do remember feeling relief knowing that there was a group of people who at least understood how I felt. And then within the past few years, I met a friend who also does it, who also picks it herself. It's also an anxiety related thing for her. And also, there's a great deal of shame. And so, yeah, we've talked about it sometimes. And now sometimes when she and I are talking about like how we're managing our experience of anxiety, how we're trying to heal it. It's kind of a measurement. It's like one of the data points. Well, I haven't picked in a week, or something like that. I haven't been successful in saying something like that. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's only been a few times in my life where I could say I haven't picked in a week. I'm usually celebrating if I haven't picked in an hour. That's why I wear band-aids. And I have some band-aids on these spots too, because they're very close to healed. Okay, that feels like enough for now. Thank you for being on the receiving end of this disclaimer, explanation, slash, this is part of my experience video. And yeah.